There are certain subjects that you can rely on to get great audience response. Violence in America is one of these. It's as topical today as it was in 1975, maybe even more so. From 1975, we check out Violence in America on the Jim Ferguson Sunday Show.
Our comment subject for this afternoon is violence in America. Mrs. Williams Seymour, your thoughts, please.
I just don't know where all the violence will end. We talked this morning, my husband and I, about the Kennedy may be running for president. I said it's such a great risk. The family's already given up two as being assassinated and one son in World War II. That's too much to ask of a family. And if Kennedy does run, either as president or as vice presidential candidate, he's just putting his life out too, and it's going to get, if something isn't done, it'll be so that you can't get a man to risk his life to serve his country in politics.
Well, does it seem to be restricted, just the violence in America restricted to politics per se, or is it?
I think it just reflects the unrest of the people. I don't think it's just politics. I think it's young people don't have anything to look up to and to respect when their government is kind of doing like this. But I think it's not all the leaders, and I don't think that everyone is as guilty as they seem to think they are. I think that in any political party, there's always a little unrest at times, but and in every age. When my father was young, I'm sure it was like that, and my grandparents, because even the foreign countries are like this, as old as they are. And us, a new country, there's no way that anybody's got all the right answers. Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for calling.
All right.
Bye-bye. The comment line subject this afternoon, violence in America. Did you have a thought or comment?
Yes, I would like to say I believe that so much of the violence is blamed on the teenagers and the youth of today. And I feel that they are very deserving of being defended, because I feel that they are being accused unjustly of things they are not doing under their own influence either. They're doing it through the home, through improper guidance from their parents. But I think if you sit down and analyze teenagers on an overall, they are really a very good lot of young people. And I think that rather than having them thrown the brunt of responsibility and being said they are doing all the things they're doing that are incorrect, I think really if they're given the chance, they are good kids all the way through. I have two college-age boys. And I don't feel that they should be categorized as being hoods and whatnot and being accused of things in this nature.
Well, as you see it, do you think that when someone refers to violence that they're normally referring to youth violence?
I think in more cases than not, they are anxious to accuse a teenager, yes. Because they seem to have the idea that they have leisure time and that they aren't qualified to hold down a job. And some of them, I grant you, some of them aren't. Some of them don't want a job. But I think 99% of the youth of today is interested in getting ahead.
Very good. Well, I appreciate your call. Dewey, violence in America, your thoughts?
Well, my opinion is that we have the tendency to wonder why things happen the way they do. But yet, we, the public, is the government. And if we will not back our government and we do not enforce our own laws, laws are made for each person, not for one person, but for everybody. And when you see something being done and you turn your head, then you're as guilty as the other man. Now, whenever it comes time to go to court, you should show up to court. But when you can't get your police officers to show, which is in the paper every day, then how is the public expected to be the blame? Or why should we try to blame somebody for trying to get something for nothing if we won't back our own laws that we have people to write for us?
But it's not enough to have laws and have officials to maintain the laws and be judicial in the dispersing of the laws, but it becomes important for each citizen to respond when he sees an illegal act.
That's right, because right now, if someone breaks into your home, he'll say, well, I don't want to get involved. Or the criminal will come to him and say, now, I will rub one of your children out, or I will burn your home, or I will force you not to testify. Now, this is where the police department should give him personal protection, but you can't even depend on your police department, because if you show up to court, the police officers won't show. And we all have to work together, the people, that they will finally get tired of criminals pushing us around, because everything goes through a cycle. And before, we had outlaws that took care of the land, and we finally got law, we took care of them. Well, now it's going back in reverse again. Everybody wants to take everything. And finally, you will have enough people that will get tired of this and start calling their senators and their governors and finally marching on Washington and saying, we're going to get our mayors and our police chiefs, and we're going to make laws that are going to protect the civilian. But it's getting so to the point now that we say, well, why should we worry? We got insurance to cover this stuff. And our life, how valuable is a life? We can't put a price on a life. When a man threatens your life, you've either got to have enough nerve to say, I'm going through, or don't take him to court, one or the other. But if he kills you, you've got to fight for what you believe. But still, we don't want to die.
Dewey, I appreciate your call, sir.
All right, I thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
A topic on the comment line, Mr. Duff, is violence in America. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are the courts are too lenient, and it's making these so-called criminals think that they can get away with it, so they try these things. And, well, we've got a U.S. Senator right now that has got away with manslaughter, and the public never has found out all of the details on that, and it keeps these youngsters and keeps them guessing. Well, they figure if the senator can get by with it, we can get by with it. And they go into court, and the courts is dismissing these cases. And as long as you have that, I think we'll continue to have violence. We got to make up our mind sometime that if a person breaks the law, he has to be punished. And as long as that goes on, I think we'll continue to have violence and crimes of all nature. And it's really bad when you think that this country was based on freedom and religious freedom, and yet I can't understand why we're deteriorating like we are.
Do you think that it, some people have said that perhaps it's the violence is being caused by the additional pressures that people incur in living today?
Don't you think these pressures a lot of times are self-manufactured? I know in my case, I had a heart condition, and I brought most of it on myself by trying to burn the candle at both ends, and it don't work.
Mm-hmm. I think sometimes psychologically people can get X amount of pressure, and once past that point, then they start applying additional pressure in a non-creative manner, such as worrying, protracted periods of worry, which...
Well, 2/3 of our worry we bring on by trying to keep up with the Joneses most of the cases.
Mm-hmm.
That's my outlook on it.
Mm-hmm.
If we all lived just a plain, simple life, I think we'd all live longer. And we'd be a lot happier nation as a whole.
But sometimes that becomes rather difficult with a complex society that we have today.
But getting back to your criminal cases, I still think most of it lies with your court system.
Well, that would
these
put us...
judges are just going to have to make up their mind that if a person breaks a law, if a murder case or something like that, they're going to have to take care of it according to the statutes laid down in the law. And quit turning these people back to the public to do the same thing over and over and over again.
Mr. Duff, I appreciate your comment, sir. Cynthia, what is the solution now?
Well, seriously, I believe that people have to become involved.
Right. Now, wait a minute. You missed out a part. Richard called where you were out hanging up clothes and went through an unbelievable story of what happens when a person does become involved. It was really, unreal.
I did miss it.
Spent the night in the jail, I think.
Well, I'm sorry I missed that, but I still believe that you have to become involved, whether it's just with the small things. You may start out like the lady who called about taking down license numbers. You start out with the small things, and pretty soon people begin to know that they can't get away with this. And it just mushrooms. And people, pretty soon, they find out that they can't get away with a lot of things that they could have before. If people would just have a little common courtesy and not stick their heads in the ground so much.
I was thinking if there was some way that we could afford the time from the law enforcement aspect to investigate some of the auto theft and breaking and entering of automobiles, if there were enough officers that could investigate these and perhaps nip some of these people and their lifestyles in the bud.
Yes.
This might be the answer.
This is, you've hit on a very good problem. If there were enough, there just isn't enough time or people or money for them to do this. My husband and I were victims of a theft on a vehicle that we had had less than a year. And we had a camper and stuff on it and had it all fixed up. And we always kept it locked. And it was stolen right out of our driveway.
Wait a minute, the camper?
Just a topper, not a whole camper.
The topper?
Yeah.
Was...
No, the whole truck.
The whole truck?
Yeah.
Just gone?
Yeah. One night it's there, and the next morning, poof.
Did you retrieve it?
It was found about 3 months and 7,000 miles later.
What kind of condition?
Terrible.
Was it?
And we took all the proper precautions, but apparently they had one of these devices where you just slip it down, in the window and the thing unlocks. But I could go on and on all day long on this. But, if someone had seen that at night and just reported it, I'm one for getting involved. I really am, because it angers me greatly when I see keys in a car.
Yeah.
And my first thought is to just take them and throw them away. And then what will the people do? At least their car won't be stolen.
That's true. They may never be able to drive it again, but...
They'll just have to get a locksmith and have a new key made. But I really do think that you have to get involved. It may be just in a small way at first, but it's something that goes on.
Cynthia, no, I'm not going to ask a question that doesn't pertain to our conversation or anything.
Yes.
Right. But what is that water in the background?
I'm washing some beans that I picked from my garden when I missed Richard's comments. And I'm going to can them.
All right.
That's quite all right.
I thought you might have been phoning in the shower or something.
No. I have radios outside and inside both, but I just missed his comments while I was in the garden.
Okay, well, it's forgivable on a one-time basis.
Okay.
But don't let it happen again.
I won't.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a happy day.
Have a good weekend, Cynthia.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.